Time for my game of the week. Roll Tide, roll. Alabama in Wisconsin. They're going to be jumping around.
Yeah.
It's I love it. We had a tough game last week, Alabama did, and they put it together at the end with a hodgepodge O-line. Wisconsin isn't bad, but after that game, the initial line was 7.5. It jumped to 15.5 after Alabama's close game. So people like Alabama here. I like Alabama here. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. Spent a good amount of time scouting Wisconsin. Like I feel like we've talked about Alabama in the preseason episode. We've talked about Alabama in the preview for last week, the recap for this week. Everybody's harping on their penalties. Look, Alabama's averaging 10 penalties a game, which puts them at 120th in the country, and Wisconsin's averaging 3 penalties a game. But you know what Wisconsin is not doing is being effective on offense. Tyler Van Dyke has 1 touchdown in the season. Transfer quarterback from Miami, had a really good sophomore, junior season. Not as impressive as his last season, and made the move over to the offense in Wisconsin. This is supposed to be a high-powered air raid offense, and we're not seeing much going on in the air. On the ground, Wisconsin's known for guys like Monte Ball, Melvin Gordon, and they have a solid run game there. Their rushing leader's got 3 touchdowns of the year in Ches Malusi. So he's going to have to play a key role for Wisconsin to be in this game. Their opponents don't really impress me. 2 MAC opponents they played. So it's kind of, I'm going off the stats. I'm looking at who they played, and it just, the offensive side doesn't look that impressive. And I trust Alabama's defense. So what are your thoughts?
Man, I would like to see a good game from Wisconsin here. I think that they can do it behind that running back, Ches Malusi, like you mentioned, the year 6 guy coming off of 3 straight season-ending and season-shortening injuries. Broke his leg last year, broke his arm, the season before, ACL the season before. So hopefully he can get back. He's not playing at the same clip that he was last season before injury, because they brought in Tyler Van Dyke. They have second-year offensive coordinator Phil Longo there, who's trying to instill a little bit more of that passing offense from, like we mentioned, the Wisconsin that we know, which is bang, bang, run football. So they're hoping to develop that. It's not going ideally the way that they would like, low-scoring games against, Western Michigan and South Dakota State, or South Dakota, not South Dakota State. And, they did it with Tyler Van Dyke, who's at Miami, lost to Alabama. Head coach Luke Fickell is a great head coach. He was the first one to get a Group of 5 team into the playoff, who played Alabama then. So both of these guys, the head coach and the quarterback, have experience playing against Alabama. They don't have experience against this Alabama team because there are those opportunities to take advantage of the undisciplinedness. Now, the reports are out that Caden Proctor will be playing in this game, or is at least trending towards playing. If that's the case, then I think Alabama brings out a bigger set of the playbook. They try some things that we didn't see them try against inferior opponents. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it like you. And there's just so many storylines, like you said. Luke Fickell playing Alabama for the first time since the playoffs with Cincinnati, and Tyler Van Dyke, being able to face Alabama again since the time we played them at Miami. I think about just Caden Proctor. I'm sure he really wants to play in this game, right? He's a Midwest guy. He's from Iowa originally. Iowa's decently close to Wisconsin in the Midwest, so I'm sure he would love a lot of his family to go to this game and have him play in it, not just be at Camp Randall Stadium just to support the team, of course. But I think on the offensive side, Alabama's such a fun team to talk about, and no bias, right? It's the team that everyone loves to prod and poke at. And I get why, because the bar is so high, and I'm going to sound like a broken record all season. But I think there's a couple key points to this game, and the one thing I think about is everyone just wants Jalen Milroe to run the ball. Mm-hmm. Just run the ball, right? He's got 4 rushing TDs on the season, and when they need a big play, he always delivers. You saw it last week against USF. You saw it against Western Kentucky. Jam Miller equally has 4 TDs on the season. He's leading in terms of touchdowns in top 5 for the SEC there. They have a run statistic of running the ball 64.23% of the time. So they're doing what I guess fans think they should do. I think they just want to see more of it. So you're going to get the run game, Alabama fans. So, but I know you got something to say, Hunter. So what you got?
Well, I I hear you. And I think that the run game is important. And we saw some unique ones, especially against Western Kentucky, the touchdown that Jalen Milroe had with the fake pitch. They have these creative ways to get their run game involved that makes me think that in these first two games, they don't have that all brought out. You feel like you're going to beat Western Kentucky and you feel like you're going to beat South Florida. You're kind of planning for week 3 and 4 ahead of time. Yeah, they took the eye off the ball. They had the injuries last week. But I think we're going to see a little bit more of a designed playbook around Jalen Milroe this week. But there's nothing wrong with being super run heavy. They are run heavy. There's things to clean up there, though. 6 fumbles already this year with 4 going the other way. So there is that sloppy play, the penalties. We saw the O-line just not really being able to get there. Mm-hmm. But they, if they're running the ball, it's getting it done for them. They have 3 great rushers in their quarterback and their 2 running backs.
Definitely. And look, like I agree. Like I said, I touched on it earlier with the penalties. You're sitting at 120 in the nation overall average wise at penalties. Like that's not where you want to be. That's not, penalties to me are not a stat based upon skill ability. It's about discipline. That's not profound, but it's not like you can look at a team's, past defensive ratings and they're bottom 120 in the country. That just means they're not skilled. Penalties are about just doing the right things. And when you come off of having a leader like Nick Saban and everyone just respects him and he does things a certain way, you start to kind of raise your eyebrow, like, what is going on here? Like, I'm cool with everything. The podcast, it's fine, whatever. But like, we got to take care of these penalties. We got to play good Alabama football here in Tuscaloosa. The last thing I kind of pointed to that Alabama fans should feel excited about is Ryan Williams. He's second in the SEC in yards, and it's only on 6 receptions. It's right behind Trey Harris, and Trey Harris has got 3 TDs, so it's you got to feel excited about him. The running game's there, so hopefully they can continue to put together on the passing side. I think on the other side, Wisconsin, from a defensive perspective, is a top 6 in the nation against the run. They're 23rd in the nation overall from a yards per game perspective, but those stats are misleading to me given who they played. Yeah, Wisconsin doesn't play teams like this unless they make the conference championship or they play Ohio State or Michigan. So this will be the best offense they've played in quite some time in Camp Randall Stadium.
Yeah, and the offense for Alabama, what they're extremely good at is red zone. They've scored a touchdown 7 of 9 red zone trips. And their opponents, they're only 1 for 6 scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Wisconsin 5 for 10, so they're doing okay at scoring, but you would rather have that 7 for 9 number. The key to the game, I think, for Wisconsin is Alabama right now, this defense that Kane Womack has put together, he's left a lot of his DBs on an island. We've seen it. We saw it last week where if Byron Brown had a little bit more accuracy, he had guys deep. He just missed them in stride. Alabama's trusting their DBs to be athletes. They're trusting that talent gap that they're going to be able to cover guys one-on-one, giving them more opportunity to bring pressure, blow up plays, have linebackers that roam. We've seen the Alabama linebackers this year be critical. Alabama's going to be missing one for the first 3 quarters of this game. If you're Wisconsin, you need to take shots deep. You're going to have those one-on-ones. If you try to nickel and dime Alabama the whole game, I don't think that's going to get it done. You're going to have to take some big shots, and knowing that you're going to have a lot of one-on-one matchup opportunities. And Tyler Van Dyke does have the arm. We know the air raid offense that they're trying to establish there. I think that we'll see that from Wisconsin, and hopefully, for their sake, that gives them some points.
Yeah. They've scored 6 touchdowns all season. That puts them at 3 touchdowns a game on the offensive side. Of course, they have defensive touchdowns, but give them a defensive touchdown. I don't know if 28 points is going to win this game for Wisconsin if that's what they put up. If I had to make a prediction on this game, I'm going to say that Alabama wins 28-10.
28-10. I like it. I don't know. They're 15-point dogs. I think now that they have the O-line back together, I think Alabama wins 38-13. I know that they can put it together in the fourth quarter. I think some of these points will come that way for both teams. But behind this proper O-line, knowing that Jalen Milroe will have the opportunity to go right like he likes to do, we will see a more improved Alabama team that will give them some momentum going into bye week before Georgia. It'll be a good game. Roll Tide.